the fighting isn't the problem.
No.
It's how you're fighting.
Correct.
It's not like conflict is inevitable, but casualties can be avoided.
Yeah, absolutely.
No one has to die. No one has to have permanent
It feels
wounds.
like a war, and it feels like you have to win the war.
That's right.
But it's not. You're not at war with your spouse. You guys are in the war together.
Yep. You have a problem.
You have a problem, and you need to fix it together.
'Cause you are the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Now, here's one thing that can be helpful. And this isn't just helpful inside a marriage. It's helpful in any context. It was helpful when I was principal, because it helped reframe and remind you that there are people. The people aren't the problems. Because the moment you make a person a problem, you are going to try to remove the problem. And if you're trying to remove the problem, that means you're trying to remove a person. So always remember, people aren't problems. People are still people. And also, secondary helpful thing, don't look at a person's, like your spouse, and take their deficiencies and make them character things, right? Don't look at your spouse who keeps on leaving their underpants on the bathroom floor. Guilty.
20 years
Guilty.
in.
And say, oh, it's because they're lazy, right? Because that turns it into a character thing. And you would never do that to yourself. When you make a mistake or an error, it's excusable. You were in a rush. You had to do something for the kids, and therefore you couldn't possibly do this because there was traffic, or it's never a character issue when you make the same mistake. It's always chalked up to, hey, there were some circumstances around it. And when your spouse makes a mistake, sometimes you can jump to saying, this is who they are. Now, sometimes it just is who they are.
Yeah, I don't know. I still can't understand why the
There is
underwear
two
can't
sides.
make it into the laundry basket. But you're right. I remember when we first got married, especially because I did not control this
Now,
tongue.
can I help with the underpants thing? Here's why.
You start
Here
a
you
fight
go.
on camera.
I'm not about to start a fight. The issue isn't whether or not the underpants would make it to the laundry basket. It's whether or not they make it in your time frame. Does this make sense? Because if I were to live by myself, the underpants would eventually make it to where they belonged. Because I would need to wash them at some point. That's just what it was. But for you, you have a time frame, and that is right away they have to go to wherever they go, which is fine.
Because I've learned that if they don't go right away, I'm the one picking them up later.
Or you don't have to, which is also
Which is
something.
where I have landed, people. Okay, I have just conceded in that area. I see the underpants and I'm like, I can't care anymore.
No.
I can pick them up silently, which sometimes I do, or I'm like, he's a grown man. He will pick up his underwear himself, and turns out he eventually does. So, learn to let some things go, as I have learned to not pick every fight.
Which is good, yeah.
But I do remember, and it was years until we were in therapy together, years into our marriage, that one of the therapists was like, you can't just shoot from the hip. Like, you can't just spew all of these thoughts because they could be really mean.
What you used to do was you'd let it build and build and build and build.
Because I'm like, okay, it's okay, Erica, don't make a big deal.
And then all of a sudden, we're not dealing with issues along the way.
The molehill. We've made it a mountain.
We made it a mountain, and now we got to deal with about 40 different issues, and I can't even keep up because it's like, it's the underpants. And then it's this time that you didn't actually respond to the text message in the way that you should have responded, and you're not caring for my feelings. And, you don't see how you don't care for my feelings? Well, that's a problem too, because if you really loved me, you'd see how you should care. And it's like a list of things that have to be worked through instead of knocking them off.
Yeah.
one at a time.
And one of the ways that we've just nipped that in the butt is just when Eric does something that bothers me, I just tell him right away now. I don't hide. I don't fester. I don't try to stuff it. I don't try to say, oh, I'm just going to forgive and move on. No, that bothered me. And this is how it made me feel. And he addresses it right then and there. And then I'm able to move forward. But sometimes we can be like women, especially, we can be so good with our words. And we can twist them and form them so that they're like the sharpest bullets that we know are gonna.
Guys can do that too, though.
Yeah, guys can do that too.
Yep.
Absolutely, sure. Yeah, but they are. I think guys are more like, I don't know. They're more like I feel like I was coming for your manhood, and I wanted to strip it and destroy it. Right? Because I felt like I didn't even have a man. I was like, remember I used to say to you, I'd be like, just grow up. You hated that.
Yeah.
You hated that. And men, I feel like I was reading this forum the other day, and it was all these men coming for women's like insecurities as far as like their weight, their extra love handles, their saggy breasts, or whatever it was. So anyway, but I also think that what I've learned about fighting is it should be controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should, well, in controlled meaning you deal as though you're on the same team.
Yes.
And tackling the same problem.
Yes.
Which is not a person, but is whatever the issue is at hand.
Yes.
Right?
Right. And it should also be two people who are both going to come out learning something. Mm-hmm. Okay. You mentioned a principal story. I have a principal story. I remember when a parent tattled on me to the principal instead of just coming to me.
Yep.
And I was like, well, why wouldn't the person just come to me? Like, why? And the principal is like, well, you're kind of intimidating, right? Mm. And she's like, every time a parent comes to me instead of you, not that it's right, but I want you to see that something can be learned. And that little statement shaped how I viewed everything from that point on. As this person's not attacking me, well, maybe they are, but I can learn something about this, whether it's about myself or whether it's about people. So when we are having a disagreement, part of the control is I need to be controlled enough. I need to be prepared to listen to see where maybe I made the mistake, where maybe I had the shortcoming, and how I can grow and learn from this situation.
And don't drag up old wounds, right?
Yeah. I used to love to do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's satisfying to a certain point because you even it's in those moments, it's about winning the argument.
Yeah.
So doing whatever you can do to win the argument, even if that means I'm going to talk about how you did this 10 years ago. Or, and it can be a moral failing. It can be whatever. Like, don't bring it up. If you've forgiven it and moved past it, don't bring it up in the fight just to win it, because that does not help you solve the current problem. It only creates a situation where the person's going to feel like they're going to have to bring something up, because it's not about solving and working together. It's about winning.
And there is no winner.
There's no winner in that.
You're both losers.
You're both going to lose. You might actually take the ultimate L, which is your marriage.
Yeah.
All for the sake of feeling like you have to win the argument. Yeah. And then it's not a win if the spouse loses.
Right. It's not. And I think something that I remember one of our pastor's wives had said to me when we were going through a very difficult time. She said, if you believe the gospel, which I do, then what has Eric done to you that you haven't done to Jesus? I was like,
woo!
This is Sunday. It's not even the same thing. And I'm not Jesus, right?
That's a powerful one,
That is a
isn't it?
powerful one. But that's how I started to filter everything.
Yeah.
Like, was what you were doing
That's
to me so catastrophic?
That will shoot you right in the eyes right there. That's like,
well, I've never forgotten it. And I even now there's moments where I'm like, I have to breathe. I have to remember that I don't need to judge up the past. I don't need to be like, Eric, well, last week you did like I don't Jesus doesn't do that to me. God doesn't have, sometimes I do wonder, are our sins going to be blasted on the what is that called?
Jumbotron.
Jumbotron in heaven. I don't know about that. But I do think about that sometimes. That used to keep me straight for a little bit as a child.
I feel like that's unhealthy.
Okay, yeah.
Like
I have a lot of unhealth.
It's like a Santa Claus type thing. You're on the naughty list.
Which this is a great point, but the unhealth in when you fight with a lack of control, when you fight to win, when you fight with bringing up your past, and you have to be really careful about that, especially if you're coming into a relationship with a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
If you saw your parents fighting all the time, if you felt like all you ever did with your parents is, get into arguments. If you have a lack of trust, that was a big part of our thing. I didn't trust anybody. So when we were going at it, I didn't trust that you meant good to me. I wasn't giving you the benefit of the doubt. I just felt like you were coming for me, But I think what we have learned to do is we've learned to fight well.
Yes.
And respectfully. And understanding that we're like in a WWF. Is that World of Wrestling? Or is it WW?
You're good. WWE.
Oh,
yeah.
WWE. Okay.
I was going to let you ride.
Okay.
I thought you were going to get there. You didn't get there.
No, I didn't get there. I knew it was something. WWE. Like we're the tag team together, right? We're jumping in the ring and we're tagging in and we're tagging out because we're not fighting each other. We're fighting Satan, who's trying to break us up. Satan's studying us. Okay, this is a legit theory. I'm taking him. I'm taking him for a ride. He wasn't ready to go on.
I wasn't ready to go on this
Okay,
one.
but that's the truth, though,
I'm ready
right?
for it.
Because Satan hates marriage, right?
He does.
And he hates this beautiful, sacred institution from the Lord, and he would love nothing more than to have there be this ugliness, this war that we're constantly at together until we're like, I just can't do this anymore. I'm too tired to do this. I'm too tired to keep fighting with you. But if we place boundaries, if we place rules, if we place the truth that we love each other and we are fighting for one another, not against one another, it changes the game. And it takes any power that Satan thinks he has away from him. We have all the power to fight healthily and with love and even with God at the center. God can be at the center of a fight, y'all.
Man, that was great. You just went right for it.
But isn't it true?
It is true. Because in the end, it's not as though God's word says you will never have conflict. That's not what it communicates. It actually says you're gonna have conflict, and here's the way through it. You go to the person, you address the problem, you give them the dignity of saying, I'm gonna honor you in the way that I felt offended by you in this moment.
Yeah.
When you shot off the hip and just, got me with those words, that really that hurt me. And you address that with the person. Like we said, not bringing up old wounds, not attacking character, but addressing what the problem was, which was that person said something that hurt your feelings, right. Or that you noticed them treat somebody else in a way that you didn't want, that you thought was not good.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is. There's going to be any number of issues that come up in a marriage. But I think the biggest thing is when you're in those moments where you feel like you're about to cross a line, and I feel like we both been there for sure, where we didn't fight well, or the argument was just getting too ratcheted up, that it was like, I just need a break. There's nothing. I need to go take a walk. I need to just take a breath, because it's better for me to take a breath and take a break than say something that might be irreparable.
Yeah.
Because once those emotions get high and you start speaking out of your emotions or out of your anger, you're not thinking with your right head. You're thinking from an emotional state. And so you're going to say something or do something that's going to make you regret it. So taking that break is wise.
Yeah.
It's not avoid as long as you know that you're coming back to
Right.
finish
Right.
solving that issue. It's not avoiding it. It's saying, I just got to take a breath. I got to go pray. I just got to go say, Lord, I don't know. I feel like I need to just see things differently. I need a new perspective. I need some wisdom. And you got to take a break and come
But
back.
you have to make sure that that person that you're in a relationship with understands, like, this is, hey, when we get heated like this, time out for 5 minutes. You
Yeah.
can't just make up your own rules in the middle of a fight,
No.
because that could set that other person off. If that person is a person who's like, hey, I need you to process this with me.
And
I
that's
need
with
you
some framework too.
Yes.
Because if you're approaching it the wrong way, where you're just trying to win,
Yeah.
then that's going to be a tough sell to say, I need to take a break now.
Yeah.
You know, when the other person's scoring points on you,
Right.
and they keep on dunking on you with their points, and you just, feel like, okay, I got to take a break because I just don't want to deal with this anymore. Or they call the break because it's not about solving a problem, it's about winning.
Yeah.
And so you have to be approaching the argument with the right attitude of, I'm on your team. So this break is about helping us.
Yeah.
It's about me getting to a point where I'm just a little bit more calm, because it's going to help us solve this problem faster. I'm just too emotional about it right now.
Yeah. Can I add, you know, ultimately, I think one of the biggest issues, and that I've saw with us, I see with young couples, even older couples, is you can have the fight, but the struggle comes in when you don't know how to reach the peace treaty. Right?
Yeah. So how do you get to the peace treaty?
And I think I have learned that the peace treaty is, what are the terms of agreement? What ultimately are you fighting for, and what am I fighting for? Can we reach everything you and I want? And if we can't, what's the compromise that we're both willing to live with? And then once we reach that compromise, are we then willing to move forward, not living in the past, with the understanding that we are going to both diligently work hard to not be back here again? And I think the issue when couples keep having the same fight over and over and over again is that they cannot do that. They cannot reach.
They haven't gotten past
peace.
the thing.
No.
Yeah. They said the words, but they didn't restore connection.
Right.
They said, they got to a point where saying, fine.
Yeah. It's never fine. Fine is a lie.
I'm
It's
fine.
a cover up.
It's fine.
Yes.
I think another, when I read the book of it's called Never Split the Difference, I think it's called. And he gave this keen insight. And I think this is something that I've started to put into practice. Even if I'm not there, I put it into practice because it helps me to get there. It helps me to get to the point of saying, I agree. And so here's the guy's point in the book is, whenever you hear somebody say, you're right, they're just trying to end an argument, stop it, and move past it. Basically, when somebody says you're right, it basically just means shut up. I don't want to hear it anymore. I'm going to just say you're right so that you'll stop talking to me. I don't want to hear it anymore.
Yeah,
so
you're right.
So whenever you, I'll take the hint then. But that's what that's what the guy's point is. What you're wanting to get from the communication is that's right. So it's not about a person being right, because when you communicate that the person's right, you're trying to get them to stop talking. But when you communicate that the issue is you're in agreement on the issue, you're saying, I affirm that what you said is right. So we had a weekend this past weekend where Erica wanted to collect some things to help a person with their party. She wanted to go above and beyond to help them with their party. And I just wasn't a fan of it. I was basically like, I'm kind of done trying to help these people with their party. It's been a lot. Can we just say you're on your own? And she was like, no, we got to keep doing it. And I honestly was
I
like,
don't do anything halfway, guys. To my detriment.
I was pretty much just like, whew, and I kind of made, I did the visual of what that noise would be, which was like kind of like a hissy fit that a 2-year-old makes. I just was like,
Yes.
I don't want to anymore. We had all our kids in the van. I was like, let's just go. If they want it, they can do it on their own. And Erica was like, no. And then she said, and you know what? I don't like the way you're treating me right now, because I want to do something nice, and we should want to do something nice. And so you have this moment where I would have to say, you're right, even though I think she's wrong. Right? If I said, you're right, whatever, you're right, like, let's just stop talking about it, would be the communication there. Or if I said, no, that's right. And that's right would mean this is the good and correct thing that we should do, so let's do it. You're right means, fine, you win. Communicate kind of like you win, so you stop talking to me, and let's just move on. You don't want that. So if somebody tells you in an argument, you're right, don't listen to them. They're just trying to get you to shut up. So push to a point where you both say, that's right, so that you can move in agreement that something is good and correct and true, and you can build something on a that's right.
Yeah. And part of that, what I do want to add is people have to have humility. That's crucial to the fight too. To know when you are in the wrong, and even if you don't fully believe you're in the wrong, to know that you care about this person so strongly that what you've done or said has upset them so fiercely, to just look at yourself and not deflect. That's what drives me bonkers, is the deflecting and not taking any accountability or responsibility for what role you played. Because that's just an unwillingness to learn. That feels like a desire to just keep sinning, because you're not trying to make a different choice. You're not trying to choose a different path. And to just look at the person and to say, yeah, I'm sorry for what I did and for how my actions and behavior hurt you. I'm sorry that I was lashing out at you. It wasn't about you. It was about the situation. I didn't want to help anymore because we've done enough for this couple, right? We're exhausted. And it was me later saying to you, yeah, that's right. We didn't need to do all that I wanted to do. And I'm glad that I didn't, because I didn't go through with all that I wanted to,
right,
because you were very adamant about you didn't want to do that. Right? But we both had to listen. I immediately addressed the issue that I was having with you. And then you did apologize and you pivoted, right? We fought without our voices being raised, without getting super angry at the person. And
I even walked away at one point.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't even want to talk to you about this right now.
Yeah. I let him go.
And you let me go.
Because that's fine. But
That's right.
when you came back in,
I sure did.
I was like, hey, this is the agreement. We're gonna, we love each other. We are not the enemy right now.
Right.
And we are going to work with love despite the frustrating situation, because you and I are still on the same team.
That's right.
And I think if I could add one more thing, if I could have gone back and told young newlywed Erica something, people aren't going to change at the rate we want them to. I was so focused on your imperfections and your shortcomings and your sin that I had just as many imperfections and shortcomings and sinning just as much but I was blind to it, right? I was like the man who looks in the mirror and goes away and forgets like what he looks like. And I was blaming you for, this is why our marriage sucks and this is why we fight all the time, when I was as much to blame and as responsible. And I'm thankful for the growth because our kids have seen us fight, right? But they've never seen us fight to the point to where like they're crying or, you know, they're emotional or they're worrying if we're going to get a divorce or, right?
Yeah.
And I think I had a friend once who said that she had never heard her parents fight. And her mom's like, we fought all the time. You know, the times that we'd go on walks, that's when we were fighting. We just didn't fight in front of our children. And I always admired that. I was like, oh my gosh, we should never. And I think if you could do that, great. But I think it's also okay for our kids to see us disagree, because then they see how we resolve it, how we are united because we are fighting toward the same thing. I'm not tearing you down. They're not watching you, you know, destroy their mother and attack her. And then they watch us hug.
Yeah.
And they watch us kiss and they go, you know.
And I think that's the key is your fight isn't over until it's not over when the words are done. It's over when you reconnect.
Yes.
And you reconnect on an emotional level and maybe even on a physical level.
Yeah, you know, not every woman wants that after a fight.
But that, like, don't just stop. Like, don't think the fight's over when the words are done being said, because you have to reconnect with one another. And that's when you know that you've come to the end of the fight, of the conflict, and you've reached an agreement, because now you feel good about reconnecting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Done.
Okay.
Did you have more? Sorry,
Well, I just wanted to say I don't like to fight. Fighting actually makes me really anxious because of my childhood pre-adoption.
and
So
post-adoption.
I'm trying not to put that on there. I don't really like to fight because of my childhood adoption. I think I was yelled at a lot. So anytime anyone yells at me, I get really anxious, right? So Eric can be firm with me, but I appreciate when you say things more gently. Don't yell at me. I don't do well when I'm being yelled at, right?
No one does, though.
Some people thrive in that kind of a
Really?
lifetime.
They
I
wanna
don't
be
know.
yelled
That's
at?
probably their trauma.
Like by their coach.
I don't know. Yeah.
Do
It's
better.
like, it's like internal motivation, right? And that's why so many parents yell at their kids, but kids don't listen to that stuff. Anyway, so where I'm going with that is I remember something our therapist said to me about you. I'm going to bring it full circle in a second, but she said when I was like, but Eric does this and Eric does this and Eric does this and you know, she's like, Eric's always Eric. He's never shown you anything other than himself. So some of this stuff that you're upset about, it's always who he's been. And I had to take a second and be like, wait, what? But he should change. But I'm working on growing and I'm working on, and that moment was an epiphany for me because she's right. You're just Eric. You do the same stuff you've been doing pretty much since we got
My
married.
whole life.
And that was my moment of like, girl, you need to let go of some things and of some control, and you need to focus on yourself. And you need to focus on your anger, and you need to focus on your issues. And I think what I'm trying to say, when we got married, I was bringing a lot of my childhood angst into our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want you triggering or setting off, you know, those feelings. And so it felt so urgent for me to shape you and change you, and you weren't getting it. And so I'm picking this fight again and again and again and again, when you're just Eric. This is the person that I married, and I knew these things about you. Maybe not to the degree, but I knew them. So when I was able to accept you, that you are Eric, and focus on myself,
Yeah.
I became a lot less angry in our relationship. And I think if the woman or the man could do that, focus on self, that would even cause a lot less fighting. Because instead of finding things to pick at the other person about, you're too busy trying to level up and grow in the Lord. And in turn, you have gotten better when I stopped trying to point out all your shortcomings and pick at you and nag you. You have grown exponentially. And when I got cancer, you really grew up because I couldn't do anything. Yeah. You literally had to take care of everything and be everything to everyone. And I didn't do a single thing. I didn't pick a fight. I didn't nag. You just did it. And that is the power of Jesus. I don't need to fight with you. Life is too short. If that fight's not mattering in 5 minutes, it's not going to matter in 5 years. And honestly, I can't even remember half the fighting, why we're doing it. Pick your battles. And not every battle needs to lead to war.
Wow.
On fire, 'cause you kept me every time I mess it up. And everybody says that things are bound to change, but I hope they stay the same, 'cause you are the best thing that's ever happened to me.